In the history of Israel, the roles of king and priest were distinct and separate from the time of Moses. This separation was established when God designated the tribe of Levi for priestly duties. Numbers 3:10 says, "Appoint Aaron and his sons to serve as priests, anyone else who approaches the sanctuary is to be put to death." The Levites were set apart for this sacred role, as seen in Deuteronomy 18 verses 1-2, the Levitical priests, indeed, the whole tribe of Levi, are to have no allotment or inheritance with Israel. They shall live on the food offerings presented to the Lord, for that is their inheritance. On the other hand, kingship was granted to the tribe of Judah, as prophesied in Genesis 49 verse 10, "The scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until he to whom it belongs shall come, and the obedience of the nations shall be his." This separation was strictly observed, with one notable exception, King Uzziah. Uzziah was a righteous king who became proud and overstepped his bounds by attempting to perform priestly duties. He entered the temple to burn incense, an act reserved for the priests. Despite the priests' attempts to stop him, Uzziah persisted, and as he lifted the censer, he was struck with leprosy, which he bore for the rest of his life. This clear distinction meant that a king could never be a priest and a priest could never be a king. However, this separation was bridged in the person of the Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus, who was both king and high priest. Yeshua, from the line of Judah, fulfilled both roles, embodying salvation that was not divided. In Isaiah 53 verse 12, it is written, "He bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors." This passage highlights his priestly function of making atonement for sin. Daniel 9 verse 24 prophesies the coming of the Messiah who would finish transgression, put an end to sin, atone for wickedness, bring in everlasting righteousness, seal up vision and prophecy, and anoint the most holy place. This prophecy aligns with the dual role of Yeshua as both king and priest, offering the final atonement. The Messiah's priesthood was unique because it was not based on physical lineage but on a new covenant. Jeremiah 31 verses 31-34 speaks of this new covenant. "The days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the people of Israel and with the people of Judah." This new covenant, inaugurated by Yeshua's sacrifice on the cross, transcends the old Levitical priesthood. Hebrews 8 verse 13 explains, "By calling this covenant new, he has made the first one obsolete, and what is obsolete and outdated will soon disappear." Yeshua's priesthood isn't established through human flesh and blood but by the power of an indestructible life, fulfilling the prophecy of an everlasting covenant. This concept is further illustrated by Melchizedek, a figure from the Old Testament who was both a king and a priest. Melchizedek translates to "king of righteousness" in Hebrew, Melchi meaning king and Zedek meaning righteousness. Melchizedek blessed Abraham, from whom Isaac was born, and then Jacob, whose descendants included Levi, representing the priestly line, and Judah, representing the kingly line. This lineage symbolizes the separation and eventual unification found in the Messiah. Psalm 110 verse 4 prophesies, "The Lord has sworn and will not change his mind, you are a priest forever, in the order of Melchizedek." This highlights that the Messiah would hold an eternal and royal priesthood, embodying both kingship and righteousness, essential attributes of a priest. This priesthood is not bound by the Old Covenant's regulations but by the Spirit. This new covenant allows us to be born again, not of flesh and blood but of the Spirit. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 21 says, "God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God." This exchange, our sin for his righteousness, is the essence of the gospel. The king becomes the priest, the holy becomes sinful so that the sinful becomes holy. We give him our sins and he gives us righteousness. If God is for us, who can be against us? People may reject you, they condemn you, but the priest-king says, "I will not condemn you." Romans 8 verses 33-34, "No one can bring any charge against God's elect." I invite you to taste this salvation. This is your chance to encounter the ultimate priest-king, Yeshua, and his transformative power if you haven't already. Embrace his righteousness, accept his sacrifice, and experience a spiritual birthing. He became sin for us so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. Allow Yeshua, the King and Priest, to transform your life today. Seek him out and discover the redemption and serenity that he alone can provide. Come to him, he is our Redeemer and everlasting life provider, our High Priest and King. Put your faith in him, and let his sacrifice and love change your life.